We're going to tackle a bigger topic, and this is a topic I'll say that strikes at the heart of most mothers who raise daughters. There might come a day when your kid starts to notice their body, what it looks like, and how it compares to others. And if insecurities form, fitness contributor Emily Nelson says it's a parent's responsibility to teach body confidence. That's something she strives for, and today she brings to the table one positive experience worth sharing and talking more about. Emily joining me to share how she does it. It's great to see you, sister.
So happy to be here.
I love you. I love you for taking on this topic, and it stems from a video that has now been viewed 27 million times.
27 million times.
Which is crazy. You shared a video on social media. It was of your daughter. It went viral, beyond viral. And this was your caption. Point of view, me sobbing watching my 13-year-old daughter slay a runway in a swimsuit with so much confidence. I will never forget this moment, and I actually cry every time I watch it. Will you take us to this moment, Emily? Set the stage for us as she takes the stage, Miss Blakely.
I know. First of all, if I would have known this video was going to go viral, there are so many things I would have done differently, you know, explain the backstory and everything, but I had no idea. I posted this video on a Wednesday afternoon in between meetings because I just kept watching it and it kept making me cry because I know what's come before this moment. I know the ups and downs in the body confidence and living in a bigger body or a heavier weight than some of her peers, and I know where we've navigated. So then to see this, I don't know if right here in this point of the video, I'm right behind her.
Boom.
And you should see my face. I go like this. Because that person, so I had no idea she was going to do that. And first of all, we got invited by Albion to be in their swim soiree is what they call it. And Liz asked me, and I was like, no. And she saw the text, and she said, Mom, I want to do that. And immediately,
Blakely saw the text.
Yes, and I immediately said, well, if she's willing to walk in a fashion show in a swimsuit, then I better pull myself together and say, yes, we're doing this. Like, she's 13. As a 37-year-old woman, I can do this, and I can show her that we're confident. So, I mean, there's so many things in the backstory, but I had no idea. I told her right before, I said, just be you. You know, just be you. And because we were walking with the Cougarettes, Ballet West dancers, the Bingham Minorettes, you know? And I said, just be you. And she did this. Every girl kind of walked in pose, and she did. And I like immediately had tears. So every time I watched it, but what I think the reason why it resonated, like I said, I had no idea this was going to go viral. But as soon as I posted it, it started going like wildfire among my peers and then, you know, my followers.
In the fitness industry.
Yes, and just followers, because people resonated this because from the comments, they pictured themselves as their 13-year-old selves, and they thought, wow. If I would have had that much confidence, how different my life would have been. Or wow, if my mom would have taught me to accept my body rather than hate my body at that age, how different my life would have been. And that's where the comments kept coming in. And there were many times I wanted to delete it, if I'm being honest, because I'm like, of all videos to go viral, it's very scary, but there was so much positive.
Yeah.
That's why, with, you know, the consent of my daughter, who's not on social media, she allowed this to be up.
What does she think about the feedback? Have you read those comments to
yes,
her?
I've read some to her, and I think she was embarrassed. Like, she's like, I don't
13,
care.
yeah.
I kept saying, Blakely, this is taking on a life of its own. How do you feel about it? And she'd be like, I don't know. And then she was kind of into it, and she knew we were talking about it today, and I've discussed it with her and, you know, kept her in the loop to make sure she's comfortable.
Well, you talk about, you know, your emotional reaction as a mom, I can only imagine, but that reaction stemming from the work that had happened before.
Yes.
And it's clear, Emily, and I'll own this and say this, and you don't have to say a word, you've done a lot of things right. And so we really want to comb your mama heart and see how we can put those same principles into play so that our 13-year-old daughter could hit the stage and slay just like that.
And I just want to say, this is for daughters and sons.
Thank you.
I believe that this is not gender specific. Right now we're looking at, you know, a video of a young girl, and it resonated with girls, but I think this can follow both genders.
You say it starts with this idea of diet culture talk, and you say that talk has no place in the home.
Yeah, so I know you look at me, I own a fitness company, but truly we keep diet culture talk as as much as we can out of the home, meaning we don't talk about good foods or bad foods. We don't say, hey, I'll give you $100 if you don't eat sugar for a month. We don't go on walks after dinner to burn off what we ate. We don't have restricted foods in the home. It's more of just like we fuel our body. You have to dance for the next 4 hours. What can you eat that's going to fuel you to be able to do that? Or let's go for a walk because we want to get outdoors. We want to feel the endorphins. It's switching the conversation like we've talked to so many times, but we have to be careful because they're seeing it in the mainstream media. They're hearing it from friends. It's around them everywhere, this certain ideas of how they should be. And so if we keep that diet talk out of our home and the diet culture, it makes a huge impact.
You mentioned Blakely's not on social media, and that was a conscious effort on the part of you and your husband. You limit the social media they intake.
Absolutely. I think this plays a big part in it. And I know it's not for everybody, and I understand that, and each kid is individual, but I've taken a very hard stance that as a preteen and a teen, she does not need to be on social media. And not only do I just say, no, you can't be on it, we have conversations about it. Why I don't want her on social media. Of course she sees it. She sees it on friends' stuff. She sees it on mine, but it allows me to control it a little bit more. I think of us as adults. I mean, I run a company and I have a strong stance here on KSL about how I feel about things, and yet I'm still, pulled into diet culture. I'm still sucked into it. And so can you imagine, they've proven studies about how teens and their brain truly cannot handle it.
And
and
that
so
13-year-old mentality is soaking it in even more deeply than
and I'm trying to do this work at home, and then if she's immediately getting on her phone and seeing contrary things said, it just allows me to keep it until she's ready.
Which leads to your next principle. You say as women, mothers, grandmothers, we have to practice what we preach.
Which is probably the hardest thing of it all. I think we all think we're doing this, but these little digs at ourselves or things like this slide in. So what I mean by that is if we're telling them to love their body at every shape and size, to fuel their body, to not restrict, are we doing that? Because that is the biggest example. We can say everything, but if we're talking, oh, I can't eat that because, such and such, unless there's like a medical reason and you talk about that, or if you're talking negatively about your body. And kudos to my husband, he's helped me along with it. We've all put on an outfit and I've been like, I don't know, like I'll say something, he'll kind of give me that side eye, like they're watching you.
You've got an audience.
You've got an audience, and it matters. It matters the way we talk about ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we're not trying to be our healthiest version of ourselves, but it's just so important that they understand that every body type is beautiful, and you're going to see that. We see women of all sizes and shapes in healthy bodies, and that's the way it is. And so the more we talk about it and get them to accept that, it's just so important, and we have to model that.
And ultimately, it's a healthy lifestyle. That's the goal, and that speaks to a wholesome approach, like a whole approach to health, to fitness, to living. Yeah,
and my 3 children have completely different body types. They've been that way since since the day they were born. And I think it's so important that we treat it as a family. We all, eat healthy things. We all go out for a treat for a special occasion. Not one kid is restricted from something, which we see a lot. We don't say, okay, we're going to, go out and run, or this kid needs to go run, or whatever. It's like, let's move our body. What feels good to you and everything. And it's a whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think that women and men that have different body types than the traditional norm of what, media is telling us, which they're not different. That's the first problem. It's beautiful. Every shape and size is beautiful. They already know, like young kids already know that. They start to have this awareness, I think around the age of 9, 10, 11, they start to have this awareness. And so that's when we can start to encouraging them that it is beautiful. Look around, everybody looks different. And it's the way we treat our body. Healthy looks different on every body type. It's not a size.
But we have to be that narrative. We have to be that.
And I think it's like, get them clothes that makes them feel comfortable and confident, and, get them in activities that they enjoy, that they feel confident. And there's so many ways, because like we always say, our body size is the least important thing about us, but we want to be healthy.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for that perspective, that context, and tell Blakely thank you as well.
Yes.
2 role models for us to learn from. Where can we hear more from you online, Emily?
I'm at High Fitness Emily.
Yes, she is. Follow her there.